All right, here we are. Welcome to Win the Day live stream, where we talk about how to win the day as a real estate agent, how to get more business, lots more business. And we're going to talk about that today because specifically I want to talk about how to get more business because I'm in the business of getting more business, and I assume y'all are as well. And I've been doing this for 20 years, closing on 1,600 sales. One thing I know about business in real estate, the more people you talk to, the higher likelihood you're going to have of getting business. All right. Whether it's buyers or sellers. So you really underline, highlight, bold that. Hey, Julie, you really need to talk to a lot of people.
Sorry for missing yesterday. I had no internet.
Oh, somebody got your internet. All right. Well, what we're talking about is how to increase the amount of business you do. And I am here to tell you the way you're going to do it. And there's a million ways, but the easiest, most consistent and obvious one is talk to more people. And that sounds a heck of a lot easier than it actually is. It's really, I found, hard to talk to people, especially people you don't know. And you run out of people you know pretty fast. So what I have discovered over time, when I need to talk to people, I got to find something I'm excited about. And we talk about it all the time on here. You find something that you get excited about, because when you're excited about it, you tell everybody. It's like after the Super Bowl, Lamar Kendrick, I think is his name. Whatever the guy at halftime was, you either liked him, you didn't like him, or whatever. But people were talking about him, right? Because they wanted to talk. Did you see him? He sucked. Did you see him? He was great. You know, whatever. At least they were doing something, right? So get excited about something. That's why sports are fun. That's why new movies are fun. That's why, I don't know, any number of things are fun. Because you get excited about it and you want to tell people what you saw, what you did, what you're going to see, what you're going to do, whatever, right? And when you're excited about something, it just comes off you, right? People tune in, or maybe they tune out if they're not into what you're into. But if they're into what you're into, you become very attractive in that regard, especially if you do it in a good way and not a crazy way. But so how do you get excited about things? The way I do it is I like to go preview properties. I like to go look at the places I want to dominate. If there's a neighborhood, a building, or whatever, I go preview the properties, and I go in wide open. I'm open as I drive up. I want to feel it. How does it hit me? How does this resonate with me? What's going on here? And then I go into the property. What's it feel like? You can't get it in an MLS description, right? What's it smell like? What's it sound like? What emanates from this place? How does it hit you, right? You can't get that from an MLS description, but it could be the thing that changes. And most of the places you go to are going to be like, oh yeah, okay. Every now and then, though, one's going to strike you, and it's just going to resonate. It's going to ping something in you, and you're going to go, "Holy, this is I got to tell some folks about this. I'm going to tell them about it." You're gonna get a price reduction that changes the math. You'd be like, "Holy shit, I got something now." You're going to go tell people about it, right? Or you're going to take a listing that's just priced right. You know it's good. I mean, we take a lot of listings. It's like, all right, there's another one. Put it on the list. Let's go. But every now and then we get one that's like, ooh, okay. And now you're going at it with fervor, with excitement, with interest, all that stuff. And when you got that coming from it, you want to tell folks, right? And it's, what do you do? Oh, I sell real estate, right? But when somebody says, what do you do? And you say, you know what? I help people buy and sell places at the beach. In my case, what I do is I help people live great lives in retirement, right? Using vacation rentals. I don't know, whatever your thing is, right? You got to figure that out. But then they'll say, oh, you have any good deals? And when I don't, it's like, yeah, there's all kinds of good deals. But when I do, it's like, yeah, you got, look at this one. Look at it. We'll be in the grocery store. I'll pull out my phone and start showing them pictures and telling them information about it, right? So you got to do that. Study the market trends. I talk about it all the time, if not every day, most days. And what you're looking for is something, a trend, a thing that jumps out at you and you go, oh. And again, most days, most of the time, it's going to be, yeah, all right, saw that coming. All right. right? But every now and then, something's going to hit you and you're going to want to tell everybody about it. And that's when the magic happens, right? That's when the magic happens. Now, just going through it, making your calls, doing the dials, knocking on the doors, doing open houses, awesome, super great. But you're going to have to find a way to light your fire, to get excited about something, because that is when the magic happens. And it's mostly, or even more important, in a tight market where there's not a lot of activity, right? Where you got to take it to the market as opposed to wait. So I'm here to tell you, if you want more business, if you want to do more transactions, get excited about some of it. And you can't get excited about all of it because it's not all exciting, not even close. But pick and choose little nuggets here and there and find it and build around that and go tell the world what you saw, what you did, what you heard, what you felt. You'll do deals. You'll do deals, right?
John, I pulled up, I'm a word geek, and I pulled up, what's the root or etymology of the word excite? And when you look at the Latin, it means to call out, rouse, awaken, or stir up. And when you think about that, do your eyes are they open to the things that you can call out? There's something that you can call out in everything, but it's also to stir up. Not only what stirs us, but how do we excite others? And that is to call out those features, whether it's the deal that you stumbled upon or a feature that just stirred up you. It's open your eyes to what is there and call it out. I think that's the recipe of creating excitement.
So here's the thing. To do that, you have to be open. You can't be closed. You can't be sitting in a room. You can't be closed off. You got to be talking to people.
Well, it's awaken. It's awake. You've got to be awake. You got to be moving. You can't just doze through this thing.
Yep. Get into the marketplace, drive around the neighborhoods, go visit the houses, get into the office, talk to other agents, get out, get about, circulate, be open, because something's going to ping you. You're going to go, that's really something. I need to tell people about it. And that's when you get deals. Mike Ferry said, and I repeat this all the time, do something good and then tell the world what you did. Learn something, feel something, hear something, and tell the world what you feel, hear, look, whatever. And you'll get activity. That activity leads to good stuff, right? Julie, you bumping into that at all?
Well, you got to think about what excites you, because it starts, it can't be fake. It has to be genuine and authentic.
Totally.
So,
just fake it till you make it is bullshit.
Yeah. You can't, and I can't fake, being excited about something. So, find out, here's the thing. If you know the trends, and you talk about this all the time, study the market. Right now, I know our market. I know the numbers. I study them. I'm, like Marky says, is a word geek. I'm a numbers geek. I'm a statistician.
I'm just a geek.
I'm a geek, but I like to look at the numbers and the trends and all that kind of stuff, because here's the thing. You don't have to have every little thing memorized and, what the delta is between this and that. You just need to know the general up, down, buyers, sellers, who's got the advantage, right? Just in general. But when you study it every single week, it becomes much easier to be able to compare and contrast and have conversations naturally. You don't have to fake it. When you talk to people and they ask you a question, you don't have to look it up and you don't have to fake like because you know. Now, if you want to get specific about a particular property or particular zip code or something, okay, so then go get that information. It gives you an opportunity to follow up with people, but find something that excites you about the process. And if you don't love sales, if you hate what you're doing, this is always going to be a grind. You're always running uphill. You're always going to feel out of energy, and you're never going to like it.
You can do it, but it ain't much of a life.
You got to find things that make you really happy and excited. Like, think about every time, like, oh, we signed a contract. Oh, the buyer said that I want to look at houses. Oh, I have an appointment. Oh,
It's got to be more than the money. The money is just a function of the thing you enjoy.
Yeah, getting paid, it's kind of funny. It's exciting to get paid, but it's anticlimactic when the money gets wired into your account, right? Mm-hmm. What's exciting is working with people and all those little steps along the way. The appointment, they said yes, they signed the contract, or I got something back, or the inspection's been approved. All those little steps along the way, you got to celebrate them and be excited about them and find the things that excite you and create opportunities to do more of that.
Well, and Julie, to your point, I mean, numbers tell stories.
Mm-hmm.
The great agents are those who know how to tell the stories of the numbers.
Right.
If all you do are give numbers,
right. You can't
So-
just
Well,
spit out
man.
statistics. People just fall asleep. You have
Yeah,
to tell
but-
them what they mean and how they relate,
it's
and
it's
what
almost
that
like,
means to them.
yeah, it's almost like cryptography is you're looking at the numbers, and over time you begin to see the messages of the numbers, and then when
Right.
you can tell that story to people, they go, because you've made sense of those numbers, and people are attracted to those numbers.
I have an example from yesterday. I got a call. A friend of mine said, my daughter is on the verge of I think, making a bad decision. Tell me what this is. They wrote an offer for $612 on a house that's listed for $612, and the person paid $610 for it in 2022, but it didn't appraise. So it's got to be worth that if they paid that. And I said, well, what month in 2022 did they buy it? And before I ever looked at any of the numbers, I knew nothing about the house. Just said they closed in May of 2022. I'm like, okay, well, March is when the interest rates started going up. Okay, here's where all your numbers start coming in. March of 22, the interest rates started going up, and the demand went like this, and the multiple offers and all the overpaying and all that stuff followed it down. So they closed when they had written an offer in a multiple offer situation. And so I then go back and look at the history, and I'm like, yeah, if they pay $612 for this house, they're going to be about 82 grand upside down. They can take on this person's problem and save them, but are they going to stay there for 50 years? Or why don't they go find another house? It's a buyer's market. We've had 44% increase year over year of active listings in our market. Boom, that's where the numbers tell the story. And they're like, now they know what to do. Her daughter canceled on the deal.
Beautiful.
So let me
Dustin,
ask
what are
a
you doing to get
question.
excited?
Well, I was going to ask a question. As a newer agent, this is something that I always get overwhelmed with. We talk about the trends and the numbers. I am far from being a numbers person. Charts and stuff, they don't excite me. And I've not yet been in a situation where a client has asked me for that information. But as a newer agent, where do you begin? Where do you point somebody in the direction to start learning that data and that research? Where would you suggest that?
Great question.
So, John, do you have an answer? I have an answer. I'll wait for you.
Go for it. I'll think about it.
So my answer is, you look at your local MLS and decide on a handful of numbers that you look at every week. Don't decide that you need to take a statistics class to understand this. Just start. So every Monday morning, and with my team, every Monday morning, we read the daily observations. And so you get where you know what the daily observations are. When you're doing this every week, over time, you're going to notice trends, or you're going to be interested, or someone's going to ask you a question. And then you're going to go deeper, and you're going to discover how to get more information. But the main stuff that you need to know is, are we trending up? Are we trending down? Who has the advantage? Is it a seller's market? Is it a buyer's market? And you need to find basic benchmark numbers in your MLS where you start. Okay, you might change later and agree with somebody else, but where you start, like I just said, we're 44% up in active properties, February over February, 2025 over 2024. Just knowing that number, you don't have to be a statistician to go, oh, we have 44% more active properties. I can hand that to someone who knows nothing about anything, and they don't feel like they're at a loss in making this decision. Like, I'm not going to be able to find a property like this. Yes, you are.
There's plenty of inventory.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of inventory. So just start with knowing a couple of numbers. Like start with what are the basics? What is your general market activity? So I know that the number they used to use for average amount of active properties in Phoenix Metro was 28,000. Okay, so find a number and don't memorize. It was 28,367. Get the general so they can go into your head, right? You don't need 44.3%, 2.8. No, round so that they'll stick in your head, right? Start with the benchmarks. In a normal situation, this is what it's been. Or in the past, 7.37 is the average interest rate, the 50-year average. Okay, start with memorizing those types of statistics, because then okay, where are we at compared to that? And when people say, oh, this is crazy, we're out of control. Well, 18% was out of control. And right now you can get a hard money loan for 12. And credit card interest average is 24.9. So I don't know, 12 sounds pretty good. And so does 7.
Yeah.
See how you can like put that all in perspective? Just memorize a few and then you can use the stuff. But look at it every week, like John says, and then you can start to tell stories because you know the trends.
I like to know sales price to original list price. Just how are we trending? Because I think that there are a lot of people that they want to come in and offer 80% of list price. And you go, that's just not this market. So looking at certain things that tell you how the market's moving, I think
and showing it, like you say, Mark, when you show people, okay, here's a chart and this is the Cromford statistic, then it's not you saying this is my opinion, because if they don't value your opinion or you don't have enough credibility, this isn't me, this is the market talking.
Yeah.
So I know it's 97% of the last list price, not the starting list price, which might have been crack smoking high, right?
Yeah.
So it's 97%, and I'm rounding,
smoking high,
of the list price, of the last list price. So those that are closing at 97%, which is much lower than it was 2 years ago when it was 99.2. And I also know on average, homes under 800 are getting a $10,000 concession after the seller's making repairs right now. 2 years ago, there were no concessions and there were no repairs. And 99.2% of list price, where now it's 97. See how all those numbers tell the story?
Right.
I simply look at where's the market at, where's it going. Easy to tell for me is sales price tells you where it's at, right? List price tells you where it's going. Number of properties coming on the market tells you where it's at, or new listings tells you where it's going. And number of solds tells you absorption. Those 4 things will tell you everything you need to know from my perspective.
Yeah.
Right now, price is right now sales, list price. They're either higher than the right now sales or lower. If they're lower, the prices are going down. If they're higher, the prices are going up. If the inventory is climbing, that means there's more competition. Prices are likely going to come down. If inventory is dropping, it's more likely the price are going to go up. And the number of sales, if it's increasing, that means there's buyers buying up the properties. The price is going to go up. If number of sales is decreasing, that means there aren't any buyers in the market. Prices are going to come down.
You got to get some that will just stick in your head. One that is a really good one so that you don't have to trust other people's analysis is pendings versus actives. So you divide and you're going to get a number. Okay. And for example, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you'd get 100%. Like
how do you divide it? Do you say Trump thinks it's going to be this?
Yeah. Right. So you don't have to trust other people and wonder if they know what they're talking about.
Just kidding.
Is 100%, like, let's say 35 homes come on the market and within 1 day, 35 are pending. Look at the pendings versus the actives. If you have 100 active and 2 pendings, that's a buyer's market. And then look at that trend. And then you can
here's a big key on that
for buyer or seller.
If you're taking snapshots, you're going to get a snapshot. But if you look at it just like your lead gen, if you do it every day, all the time, you'll notice the trend. Snapshot's just going to be a snapshot.
Yeah.
So it's better than a no shot.
The point is do it at least once a week. If you want to get good at it fast, do it 5 minutes a day. You just look at some numbers.
And here's the thing.
And then
hold on, Mark. When you're engaged, when you're dialed in, when you're on it, that stuff shows up like a neon light in a dark night. When you're not, that neon light might be on, but you might be on freaking Times Square. You couldn't tell a neon light from not neon light, right? So it goes back to talking to the people all the time. And then we've talked about this all the time too. try to operate in an environment in which you enjoy, right? If you're a boat person and you like properties on the water because you're a boat person, you'll be into it. You'll recognize it. You'll be all into it. If you're whatever it is, like I am keenly aware of what's going on in the vacation rental market because that's my world, right? So figure out what your world is and it'll open up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think coming back around to that create excitement is if you're staying in the hunt, whether it's the numbers or the previews or the new developments, when it stirs you, call it out.
100%
Highlight it.
Neon lights, spotlights, bat lights, whatever lights.
If it's a condo complex, whatever, be an expert at anything. And you don't have to be, a 200 IQ to be an expert at something.
Thank
It's just
God.
something that you are interested in, are excited about, and just, look at that thing, whether you're just previewing every single condo that comes on the market in this building.
Yep.
Be that.
Yep. It's simple and hard all at the same time. One of those things. But if you do it over time, you don't have to be great. You don't have to go 1 to 10, go to 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and so on.
Right.
And you'll end up way ahead because most people stop at 2 or 3, I think,
Mhm.
on a ranking.
And when you're talking to people, when you're becoming that expert, and I use look at every single condo in one building, that's just a look at every single house in one neighborhood, look at every single house in one zip code. Just start, right? Because then when you run into the people at an open house, you're on a phone call, you're whatever, and they ask you a question, you've got knowledge. You're not trying to remember, you're not trying to make up, it's there. And then they recognize it. And that's where you're going to generate a lot more business in that part that you like, that you love, because that's what you're doing.
I'll give you an example. I know the vacation rental thing. So if I see a property come on the market, I just instantly can say, okay, on the rents, ooh, or I'll be, the rents and the costs on. Not good, right? And but when the one hits me and I see it come on, right? Should I buy it? Should they buy it? And the game on. Or if I'm talking to somebody on the phone and they tell me whatever, because I know it, because I live it, I love it, I'm into it. Figure out what you know, live, love, all that stuff, and this gets a lot easier because your excitement will get a lot easier, and you'll be excited about the right things too.
And you get excited to get more information, and then you get the
all of
information,
it.
and that excites you.
Yeah.
Well, and I think something
Pretty cool.
that people can do to win this day is go find one thing that stirs you and call it out. Call it out on social media, call it out in text, call it out in your phone calls to an area. Go call it out and highlight it. Don't just hear this, put it into action today.
Right.
So
Destiny, last word on this?
Wait, I was going to say, come back to Destiny. What now are you?
No, what I'm processing now is, I love that you said, make this a weekly thing, or even just giving it 5 minutes a day to get familiar every day with those trends, and then I'll begin to learn. But what I also think about is, what excites me is taking a listing. That's just my bread and butter. And so, having the conversation that I did yesterday with someone, he wants to be at his next relocation place by July. Well, I know houses are sitting longer than what they used to. So having that information, that little nugget of knowledge, says we need to list sooner than what you were thinking you needed to list at, because houses are sitting right. And right. So this was a good
buyer for that guy. Get both sides. Mark, what's the last word?
Hey, put it into action. Go find it and tell the story.
Good. Julie?
Just find out what excites you and get great at that. Just a little bit, every day, a little bit.
That's right. So here's what I'm going to leave you guys with. Make sure you're open, right? Open yourself up. Don't have these closed doors. Don't be prejudging things and all that. I would never list a property over there. I would never, whatever. Open your eyes. I mean, there's beauty everywhere. There's whatever. So be open. First thing you want to do is figure out where you're going to operate, what excites you, all that, and then go preview that stuff and feel it, let it hit you. Because not every single one, but one of them eventually is going to hit you, and then you're going to want to tell everybody. You're going to have that excitement. It's going to become very attractive to those that are attracted to that, and you're going to get stuff done. It's so fun in that. previewing, studying the market trends, as we've talked about, taking a listing, especially one that is priced and you know it's priced right, like Destiny was talking about, or taking a price reduction, right? That moves you from one bracket to a new one, changes the math, and all of a sudden that new price is exciting and you want to tell people about it. That's when the magic occurs. Showing up is what you got to do every day. You got to do the boring, repetitious stuff for sure. But you got to find time to carve out time to open your window, open your door, go for a little walk outside into your world, your market, to be in the market so you can get excited about something. And once you're there, bingo. All right. So let's go do that today. Go to work. We'll see y'all tomorrow. All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.